Something happened in a lesson yesterday that I want to show you because I think it illustrates one of the most common things I see in adult piano students, and most people don't even know they're doing it. I had a student working through a passage. I noticed the fingering was off, so I stopped her and pointed it out. She adjusted her hand position, moved right where I asked, and then continued playing. Same fingers. And right there, in that moment, it became completely clear to me. She wasn't reading the notes. She was running a finger pattern that her hands already knew. The hand moved, but the pattern didn't change. Because the pattern wasn't coming from the page, it was coming from muscle memory. Her fingers knew what to do. They just weren't connected to what she was actually seeing. Now, I want to be clear, this isn't criticism. This student is hardworking and genuinely engaged. What she was doing is something I've watched happen hundreds of times over 30 years of teaching. Here's what was actually going on. At some earlier point in learning this passage, her fingers had found a pattern that worked, or, well, mostly worked. And the brain, being the efficient organ it is, filed that away. Why reread the notes every time if you already know where the fingers go? The problem is that the brain made that shortcut before the reading was actually solid. So now, instead of reading producing the finger movement is happening on its own independently of the reading. And that's what I call pattern override. The old habit is running the show. The eyes on the page are essentially decorative. So let's take a look at what this actually looked like. We were working on a piece called Brave Night by Moritz Vogel, and it's found on page 28 of my preparatory level book. And just to keep this kind of short and to the point, we're going to zero in on measure 9. Now, I'm going to focus on this little pattern right here. Ideally, because of where your hand is in previous measures, we really want finger number 3 to be on this measure. And if I were to play it, it would just look like this. Okay, what I noticed the student doing is somehow, and this will happen as you're concentrating on things, sometimes your hands will kind of wander out of position. Her 4th finger had somehow wandered down here to the E instead of the 3. So what she was playing, yes, was correct. However, when I asked her to make the adjustment, she moved her hand but continued to play the same fingers. You notice how I start on F? And then when we got to the next measure, she was really kind of lost because the notes I just played are actually these notes here in this measure. But by having the hand out of position, it completely threw her off. And in that moment, I was able to see, wait a minute, she's not actually reading the notes. This is all relying on muscle memory. What should happen is 3rd finger should be here. And that should allow you to go cleanly through both of those measures. Now, I can tell from watching a student, if they can move the hand position but still hit the right notes, then they're reading the notes. But if they move the hand position and continue moving the same fingers, well, then we're really just falling back on a pattern. So you can see it right there. The hand moved to a new position, but the fingers continued the old sequence because that sequence was stored as a motor pattern and not a reading response. So the difference isn't just accuracy, it's the source. In the first version, the fingers are in charge. In the second, the eyes are in charge and the fingers are just responding. This is a really important distinction because it tells you something specific about where someone is in the reading process. When a student is genuinely reading, every finger movement is a response to information coming from the page. Note identified, position located, key pressed. It starts with the chain. When pattern override kicks in, that chain is broken. The chain has substituted a stored motor sequence for live reading, and the student often doesn't even know it happened because the result sounds roughly similar, at least for a while. This is actually a well-documented phenomenon in neuroscience. When the brain is under what's called a high cognitive load, when it's working hard to manage multiple things at once, it defaults to its most practiced automatic responses. It's trying to reduce the processing burden. The issue is that if the automatic response was encoded before reading was accurate, you end up with a student who sounds like they know the piece, but can't adapt when anything changes. Move the hand position, change the starting note, transpose it even slightly, and the whole thing falls apart. Because the pattern they learned was never really tethered to the notes. It was tethered to the shape of the movement. The way through this is not to drill the passage more. The repetition of the same pattern just makes the override stronger. The fix is to go back to the reading. Specifically, I'll often have a student stop and say the note names out loud as they play. Slowly, one at a time, not the finger numbers. Name the notes, because that forces the chain to restart from the eyes. Note, name, key, finger, in that order. It feels slow, and it might feel like going backwards, but what you're actually doing is reestablishing the connection between the notation and the physical response, which is the only foundation that holds up when the music gets more complex. Once that connection is solid, the speed comes back, and this time it's real fluency. It's not pattern override wearing fluency as a costume. So if you've ever felt like this, like if you think you know a piece pretty well and then something small changes and it completely falls apart, this is likely what's happening. Your fingers learned the piece before your reading did. The good news is it's completely fixable. You just have to be willing to slow down and let the reading lead again. If you want to understand more about how this reading process actually works and what the 6 underlying skills are that need to be solid before real fluency develops, I have a link to my book below that walks you through all of that. And if you want to look at this in your own playing specifically, I do a reading assessment where we can pinpoint exactly where the breakdown is happening. Either way, you'll know what to watch for.